We're joined by Danielle Flecher-Horn, who founded AberNecessities, a baby bank in Aberdeen. Good morning to you, Danielle. I mean, you know, it's just shocking, actually, and heartbreaking to hear what's been going on. The amount that baby formula has gone up by in cost, and also the fact that, you know, some families have been having to water it down in order to feed their child. You must have seen this firsthand. How do you feel about this?
So Little Village came out with a statistic of 1 in 10, which I think is a profound statistic. We don't have such great statistics where we are, but can totally reflect on that. We see mums phoning us, crying down the phone, and I can tell you, as a mum myself, when you hear that call come in from a mum crying because she has one feed left and doesn't know what to do, and she doesn't have any money to go to the shop to buy anything, she doesn't have a voucher that she can go and spend because she's maybe living quite rurally, it's a privileged position to be in a baby bank that provides formula milk free of charge.
I was about to say that some mums, I found this breathtaking. There's such poverty that they're watering down the formula in some cases.
Yeah, that makes, you know, the feed last longer in your mind, I guess, but then we're not keeping up with the nutrition for the baby.
Now, we've had this report this morning from the CMS. You've looked at the report. It's only come out and been announced at 7 o'clock this morning. What stands out to you, and what difference will it make to mums? I
really welcome the fact that you can use points to pay for formula milk. We've not seen that before. So
just to be clear, you couldn't before?
You could not before. So you would not get advantage points on buying, or, you know, privilege points, or whatever it is in the supermarket. You would not gain them for buying formula milk. So you were sort of punished for buying that milk. But now you can use them. So, you know, a granny and auntie can now go to shop, use their advantage points or privilege points, whatever, and give it. Now, the
thing is, these are just recommendations. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to happen. But pressure will make a difference, especially when they hear from services and charities like yours. Does anything else stand out in the report? I mean, I'm thinking, for example, the fact that, without naming the products, there are only a few providers, and mums sometimes feel pressured to use the same product that they've always used, which isn't necessarily the best for mum in terms of price.
No, I think when you become
I should say mum or dad.
Or caregiver.
Or caregiver,
you go into shop with your brand new baby, and what you want is to provide the best thing possible for them. So you see certain packaging which might have gold or advanced, or, you know, it sells itself as being better than everything else, but it's more expensive. So you're sort of honed into this place where you feel obliged to put your hand in your pocket and spend much more money than you need to.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it? So we heard from the Chief Executive of the Competition and Markets Authority saying that all products will meet a child's needs, because, again, we have this sort of complicated system, don't we, where it's for different ages, there are different prices as you move through the ages, for example. One thing that it stops short of recommending, though, is a price cap. Are you disappointed about that? Because that would have made a big difference, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think last night when I thought, what is my biggest hope for this report, it was a price cap. The price of it is absolutely extortionate. You know, you're talking over £18 for one tin of formula milk at the higher price end. And if you think a baby needs one of them every week or more, it's a huge expense to a family that does not have money to put food on their family's table.
And what's the impact on a family and also on the health of a child if they can't afford to pay for this? And as we now know, just to repeat that, your charity, nearly 1 in 10 that you support, tell us that families are watering down formula. One of the charities that's been engaged in this.
Yeah. So I think actually looking at the maternal mental health of this situation is more sort of critical, as well as the nutritional benefit to the baby. We sort of forget about mums and caregivers going through the process of watering down and how that impacts their mental health.
Yeah, to what extent is this really about trying to, for good or bad, incentivise breastfeeding? And how does that sort of play into this?
I think when you look at all the government information, and lots of press will always have in it breastfeeding is the way you should do it. And actually, I think we need to change the narrative and actually say to parents and caregivers, you're doing a great job and you can formula feed your baby, you can breastfeed, you could choose. And I think we need to get a bit of direction from the government around that and just make everyone feel like they're on an even playing field.
And it can be sort of a stressful time, can't it, for, you know, for parents, for families going through this, and to have that burden of thinking they can't afford to feed their child. I know that your charity, you know, you've handed out a huge number of boxes of formulas, haven't you, to help support families through?
Last year, we provided over 800 boxes of formula milk to children living in our area, which is a staggering amount. And you look at the cost of that, which is absolutely profound. And that's down to a charity providing that. We're fundraising for that, which I don't think we should have to do in this day and age.
Well, can I ask about that? How angry does that make you? There'll be people watching at home going, you know, I thought I knew Britain. I understand a little bit about the cost of living crisis. There's something like between 700 and 900,000 kids go to sleep tonight not on a bed. But this, the provision of our youngest, our infants, I just wonder, you know, you're running this charity to provide a basic thing for infants. How does it feel to be in Britain in 2025 and this be a necessity?
It breaks my heart, but I think the reason is that babies can only cry. They can't shout and tell you how hungry they are or how unhappy it's making them feel. They can't share those emotions with us. And as adults, we need to sometimes take a minute back and think, right, a baby's crying, and what's the most human thing we can do? And it's just to feed them.
I wonder, you know, what advice you've got for mums and dads, you know, and families that are overwhelmed by the cost of living crisis. There's a lot of terrible shame around this. Like, what should they do to go and get help, right?
If they're worried they can't feed their babies.
Can't feed their babies, yeah.
So there are baby banks up and down the country. So I would urge people to look at the Baby Bank Alliance website, where there's a map and you can find your nearest baby bank. Feed UK have also got fantastic information on their website around feeding, and I think that's the first port of call.
OK. Danielle, thanks very much for joining us this morning and for talking through all of that. As we were saying, there are recommendations at the moment. We've had a response from the government. The Public Health Minister, Ashley Dalton, said there are many benefits of breastfeeding, but for those families that cannot or choose not to breastfeed, it's vital they can access formula that's affordable and high quality. Families should not be paying over the odds to feed their babies because of outdated regulation. We will carefully consider these recommendations and respond fully in due course. So let's hope that change is on the way to help
and
families.
that recommendations become law.